No one should ever ask you a question twice. If you communicate to someone, your communication should be so clear that when you say it and the words come out of your mouth, they go, I understand exactly what you want. Not five emails back and forth, 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 back and forth. None of that. That's all waste.
Welcome to the Dwayne Kerrigan podcast, and I'm your host, Dwayne Kerrigan. With 35 years in business and close to 30 ventures across 12 industries, I've seen a lot. Amid the celebrity allure of entrepreneurship, many exceptional entrepreneurs remain shadowed. Here, I team up with these hidden talents to unveil their challenges and successes. Dive in with me to unearth entrepreneurial gems, learn from our experiences, and get educated. Hey everybody, just got done interviewing Paul Akers, who is the author of 2 Second Lean. And I met him 2 weeks ago, actually. We were both keynoting at a conference, and I introduced myself to him immediately because I had this sense of being drawn towards him. And this was well before his talk, which ended the conference in a bang. And he shares this, I'll call it a philosophy, almost a way of life, a psychology of thinking on constant and never-ending improvement, which is Kaizen. But it has been framed and termed lean methodology, and it's what Toyota production uses to enhance the objectives of reaching near perfection in production. And this, you don't have to be a manufacturer to buy into this process. It happens in the office. It happens in production. It happens in the execution, whether you're in the restaurant business, the car business. This is a way of life and a way of training your people and a way of thinking. There are opportunities to improve everything in any moment. And so I wanted to share this gift with you. I hope you enjoy it. The knowledge and the lessons that he shares with us are unbelievably powerful. And this is something that we're all going to need as we move forward in this new season, economic season, and this new environment where technology is spreading so quickly. Now is the time to make your organizations way more efficient. All the best to you guys. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate your care and consideration to us. And God bless and have a great week. I'm so glad we're having this conversation today, buddy. It was like, I know, like when I saw you sitting in that chair and I had to speak, it was like, man, I gotta go introduce myself to him.
That was destiny right there.
And to be honest with you, I didn't even 100% know like that you were the speaker, but I had a hunch that you were. And
is that right?
Yeah.
So you didn't know who I was. That's even better.
No. Yeah. And so I just was like, it sounds weird, but I was just like, I was compelled to just come over and introduce myself. And so I'm super glad. It's like, meeting a brother from another mother type of thing. So
yeah,
it was really awesome.
Is really awesome. That is crazy. Well, I look at that as very fortuitous that you did that. That was really cool.
Yeah. So everybody, I have Paul Akers here, who is just this, as you just probably heard, I just met him a couple of weeks ago at a conference that we were both speaking at. And it's been like a phenomenal gift, dude, to just have become, fast friends with you, and I just admire what you do and how you do it. I think it's because, to be honest with you, there's a part of you that I don't have in myself that I probably wish I did. And so maybe that's what it is. I've actually been thinking about it quite a bit lately since we met. But so just to give you guys an idea of what we're talking about today and who Paul is. Paul Akers, when you were young, you started working for Taylor Guitars.
Right. Bob Taylor's my mentor.
Yeah. And so, which to me, the assumption I'm making is that that's like kind of a pivotal foundation for you and your craftsmanship and the way you think about production. And I know you spoke about that a little bit when you talked, which was an amazing talk. If you guys ever get a chance to either Google Paul or hear him in person, it's a phenomenal presentation with a massive amount of energy.
But we both have that, Dwayne, don't we?
I don't. You got it bigger than me. I'll tell you that.
No,
So,
not a chance, not a chance. But we both are very energetic, very
uh,
passionate.
yeah, we are. And then, so at like, I think you were somewhere in and around the age of 37. You start your
Mhm.
company called
Correct.
FastCap.
Wow, you have a good memory. Well, that's pretty
Uh,
impressive.
yeah, did some research too along the way here,
Okay,
but
okay.
which was like a garage startup,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. In my garage.
like every other entrepreneur, 2 or 3 years into it, you start running out of cash
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you
Broke.
leverage life.
Nobody will loan me money. The bank all says, pound sandwich. I've been borrowing millions of dollars from you for all my real estate deals. How come you won't borrow me or loan me money for my new gig? And they go, we don't trust that.
No, they never do. Banks are never there when you need them, so you got
Yeah,
to take it when
yeah,
you can get
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, I think actually I read somewhere where the business was like, the business looks like it's strong, and then a consultant had mentioned to you that like you just don't understand manufacturing or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And my place was pristine. It was perfect. It was immaculate. Everything was organized. Every process seemingly was well defined. And they told me, you don't know what you're doing.
Then you get introduced to lean,
Right.
and the Toyota system, the Toyota
Right.
production
Toyota
system,
Production System, TPS.
which is actually interesting because one of my very first most like significant mentors at the time, who's like a second father to me, his name was Harold Cunningham. He was a Toyota car dealer actually,
Hmm.
and the first book he ever made me read was called Out of the Crisis by Dr. Deming.
Oh, well,
And the red
it all came from Deming. Everything Toyota does came from Deming. Deming transformed Japan after World War II with MacArthur. So this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm personally really interested in diving into that with you because I know at the time, I read the book. I was, well, probably 27, maybe. I might have even been younger than that. And so I still have the book, but I haven't really gone back to read it again. It's probably one of those books I should reread, but I would love to like just
Right.
talk a little bit about that and get your take
Sure.
on it.
Sure,
But
sure, sure.
you've grown, your business is so successful. You have like 2,000 SKUs. You ship to countries
Not
all over the
SKUs,
world.
2,000 products, products that
2,000
we've developed,
products.
not even SKUs, products that we've developed, which is crazy.
It is crazy. And
Yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to kind of, getting some info on like how you do
Sure.
that over time and that constant innovation. Cause like in this world, you're either innovating or you're dying,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and you've mastered innovation. So I'm just so excited about it. I know you speak a lot now. You've been all over the world in I think 40 plus countries. You've written
134,
100.
134, 134 countries.
Okay, I
And
was a little off.
I'm targeting 200. Let's see if I can pull it off.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, this
A
is
couple
so
that are a little too
exciting.
worn torn right now for me to go to, but yeah.
The You've also written 4 books. Two
Seven
second
books.
lean.
Seven books actually. I just came out with another one just 3 days ago.
Oh, just
And
3 days ago.
I'm on my eighth one. I'm working on the eighth one right now.
Dude, you're a machine. So I have 2 second lean.
No, I'm not,
Le-
Dwayne. I'm a lean maniac. I'm not a machine. And the key is being a lean maniac because you get 10 times more done if you're thinking lean. And it's no effort, it's less effort.
Well, we got to dig into this because this is what people need. This is what I think I need, actually, to be honest with you. So
Sure.
I want to dig into it, but add on to the books to me. I've got 2 second lean that you wrote, lean health, lean travel, lean
Lean
life.
life, banish sloppiness, impact 2 second lean, the Amazawa legacy, the vice president of Lexus and president of Georgetown, Kentucky. He's a personal friend of mine and like a father figure. I just finished that. And I'm doing the sixth one right now, which is called Lean, the gospel dressed up in a business suit.
The gospel dressed up in the business suit. I
Business
love
suit,
it.
right?
I love
People
it.
always ask me, why does lean work? And I say, well, to be honest with you, it's just like 2,000-year-old principles that have been working for any culture, society, or group of people that embraces them. It always works. And at the essence of what lean is, if I could just say to the audience real quick, it's being a good steward of the resources that have been given to us. So we have resources, both human resources of people that work with us and our team members, and we have physical resources. And when you're a lean thinker, you look at those resources and you say, I don't want to waste any of those. I want to be a very good steward. And so that's why lean is just the gospel dressed up in a business suit. God instructs us to be good stewards of the resources that have been given us. So that's why lean works, is you're focused on not squandering resources.
Mm, I love that.
Interesting. I don't
No,
know if
I
I
love.
said that at the conference, but that's the essence of it.
No, I don't think you did say that, and that
Right.
is, I mean, I
It's an
really
interesting
love that.
segue.
It is a good say. Well, I'm going to just, before we jump into lean, I'm going to also say, in all the stuff that you've done, tack on 2 Ironmans, climbing Kilimanjaro, and I think you climbed a base camp
Everest
in
Base Camp.
Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy,
Yeah.
you're a rock star.
No, 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 no. I'm a lean maniac. I just keep saying that because anyone can do it. I know because, like, Dwayne, like you and I have such a similar story. I was a DNC student. I don't know if you're as bad as D, but I
Hmm.
skipped school all the time. I went skiing all the time. I was just a flunkhead from start to finish. I couldn't read anything. I read Dick and Jane. I think you said that I read Dick and Jane like 10 times when I had to read it in front of the class. I had to read it over and over and over again and memorize it so I didn't screw it up when I read in front of the class.
Yeah, no, I mean I used to read at a grade 4, grade 5 level, and I've had to take 2 speed reading courses just to be able to read at a normal speed. And I like, well, let's put it this way: if we're reading something, me and my wife, we're reading the same thing. She's done way before me. So
Oh yeah, always, always my wife too. Same.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Let me ask you this, because you've now said this twice so far since we've been in the short part of this conversation. You've called yourself a lean maniac. What
Right.
does that what does that mean to you?
It
What's, because
means
there's an
that
identity in there.
yeah, it's kind of something I invented because people look at me and go, God, everything you do is lean. Like if you go in my garage right now, I have a washing station for washing my car. I could afford to have a full-time person washing my car 24/7 and it wouldn't affect my banking account. But instead of doing that and going to a car wash, I set up a lean car washing station and it's epic. It's incredible. The vacuum hose rolls out. The pressure washers all totally oriented with a reel that hose. Everything's perfect. And so my wife and I could both never have to wash our car for the rest of our life. We both wash our cars because it's so easy. So everything I do, everything I look at, I'm always thinking, how do I improve? How do I increase the quality and reduce the burden on me and the people around me? So I want everything to be easy for everyone. No struggle, in flow. That's a lean maniac.
How do I improve, and how do I make things easy for everyone?
Everyone. No one should struggle. No one should ever ask you a question twice. If you communicate to someone, your communication should be so clear that when you say it and the words come out of your mouth, they go, I understand exactly what you want. Not 5 emails back and forth, 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 back and forth. None of that. That's all waste. That's wasted over processing, excess motion. It's all the 8 wastes. There are 8 wastes that lean thinkers know about. The first one is overproduction, then transportation, then inventory, then defects, and then overprocessing, wasted motion, the customer's waiting, and then the worst one is wasting your potential as a human being because you're caught up in the waste stream instead of being productive and being in flow. So those 8 wastes I see those everywhere I go. If I'm in the airport, if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm driving my car, watching what I'm doing, I see the 8 wastes and then I say, oh yeah, I could eliminate that waste and simply go. I'll give you a good example to the listeners that will be very relevant. I ride a one wheel, a skateboard with one wheel for balancing because I'm a big kite surfer and foiler. So I practice every day foiling in my driveway, waving around. But when I go to plug that in to charge it, it's got this really weird connector and it's not intuitive how it goes in and they're struggling with it. So today I said, I'm not going to ever struggle with that again. And I went and got a yellow dot, happens to be a dot that I actually make in my company. And I put it on the charger. And I know that if the plug is always orientated with the yellow dot up, it'll always plug in instantly. So instead of taking 5 seconds sometime to find the right orientation, it takes 1 second now to plug it in. That's being in flow. That's not struggling. So that's a lean maniac when they worry about something that small.
Some people would call that OCD.
Mm-hmm.
And I just would love to, because I get a couple of things I want to go back to is
Right.
I got the 8 wastes: overproduction, inventory, customer waiting, wasting potential, our own personal potential. And what were the other four?
Let's go through it from the beginning, and I'll tell your listeners and you how you can memorize it so simply. It's almost unbelievable. You'll never have to look at your paper ever again when I do this. Okay.
And when we go through these, can you kind of give like an explanation
I
just so
will.
people, yeah, that'd
I
be
will.
amazing.
Okay.
Okay,
So
thanks,
here we
buddy.
go. You ready?
Yep.
Here's the example. You go to Costco and you buy toilet paper. You buy that big thing of toilet paper. Okay. So that's overproduction. So you got this big thing of toilet paper, right? And then you bring it home. That's transportation. So imagine you got this thing, you put it in your car, and now you get home and you got to deal with it. So now you grab that big roll of toilet paper, that 36 rolls or whatever it is, and now you have to put that in inventory. Okay. So now, where do you put that? I mean, you got to have a giant closet, or you got to start cleaning out stuff in order to find a place to put this toilet paper. And then in the process, you put it up in the cabinet, and then some fluid or something, some windshield washer fluid, this happened to me actually, up above leaks down, and then leaks down the toilet paper, and now you got blue toilet paper, right? So now you got a defect. So we'll start from the beginning so you get it. You overproduce, you buy too much of it, you transport it home, you put it in inventory on your shelf, your antifreeze leaks down on top of it, it turns green or blue, whatever the color of it is, you have a defect. Now you have to over process, you have to clean up that mess. Okay. And in the process, you're wasting motion. You're arranging this, grabbing this, and doing everything. Meanwhile, your wife's saying, honey, it's dinner time. Just a minute. The customer's waiting. Okay. And then you've wasted your potential because you're out there, a high level executive, cleaning up antifreeze off of your toilet paper that you bought too much of. So don't look at your paper, Dwayne. What are the 8 wastes? The first one is
Overproduction.
overproduction. Then what happens? Then what do you
Yeah.
do with that?
Then I have to bring it home and transport it.
Transport it, right? Then what
Yeah.
do you do?
I'm going to put it into inventory.
You got it. And then what happens?
While I'm putting it in inventory, the windshield wiper fluid drops, so I got a defect.
Defect, you got it. And then what do you have to do?
I've got to clean that up. What's that?
Yeah, so that's over processing.
Over processing.
So now you're adding a whole other process, which would have never been part of it, but you have to do that because you have a defect. And then the next one is you're wasting motion. You're moving around everywhere trying to do all this.
Yeah. And could you call that time as well, or is it just wasted motion?
You call it whatever you want, whatever works for you. You know,
Yeah.
it's just the bottom line is you're doing a bunch of motion that you wouldn't have to do normally.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, the customer's sitting there waiting for you.
Your wife's yelling at you saying, we're dinner. Oh God, I made a mess. It's such a mess. I got to clean up. Give me 5 minutes. Well, the food's going to get cold. Well, I'm sorry. I'm dealing with my waste tornado.
And then the last one is
You're a high level executive. Is that what you should be doing?
I'm wasting my potential.
You're wasting your potential.
Yeah. That's a great explanation, man.
I know. And see, and you can never forget it. And I just came up with that just now because I tell all kinds of different stories. I always come up with a different story to illustrate it. Always come up with a different story.
There's so much here to cover because
I have all day for you, Dwayne, as much time as you want, because you're pretty special. Because I know what's going to happen as a result of this. So I normally speak to people who know about lean, but I'm surmising that possibly this audience may not know a lot about this, so they might be introduced to something that could change their life today. So I'll take as much time as you want.
Well, thank you, because I mean that's what this podcast is about, right? Like we're really trying to introduce business owners to things, and I think, you know, times are changing, you know, with technology and all these kinds of things. Business owners are going to have to find these secrets and these nuggets inside their operations and inside themselves as leaders and owners of their businesses in order to compete in the future. And to me, now is the time where people have to really think hard about, you know, what is going to happen in the next 2 to 5, 10 years. Because if you're relying on the past, it is not going to equal the future. And so this is one of the things that was like, as I was watching you speak, I'm like, oh boy, this is so important, this stuff.
And here's the cool thing, Dwayne, you don't actually have to even think hard to do lean. You just have to start thinking a little bit every day and taking small actions. And it is the accumulation of those small actions, those small ideas that will produce extraordinary results. I mean, the success that I have garnered in my life, I've never heard of it before. And I'm an average person. I was not the star athlete. I was not the, homecoming guy. I was nothing. I was the bottom of the barrel. And I figured this out through small, incremental, daily improvements to
Well,
everything.
one of the things I would love to do is get some links that you would recommend. We're going to put them on the show notes, because what I'd really love for people to understand is that what you guys are doing in especially at FastCap, it's like, whew, it's so slick. It's so the
Right.
thinking and the innovation is so phenomenal. And
And it's
you
not
make
hard.
it, and that's what I was going to say is like, you make it look
Not hard.
so easy,
It is easy. It is
but it
easy
is,
for
but
anybody who's serious about it. It's very easy.
it's a different way to think too. So that was going to like, this is one of the things that's been prying on my mind since we met for the last 2 weeks, is like, this is the stuff I think about at night. So bear with my weirdness here, but I'm like, man, how did this start for you? Like, did it start in your psychology? Um, was there
Mm.
patterns from when you were
Whoa.
younger?
Deep
Because
question. Deep question.
like, that was the thing that's really been sitting on me, is like, okay, here you are today at, I think you're somewhere around 65.
Hmm.
Um, but there was a Paul at the beginning, and where was the transition? How did it happen? How did it develop? And that's the one question I've been asking myself, is like, was this in his psychology ahead of time, or was it something that he created and developed? Especially
Okay,
when you
so
say
that's a
you're
great question. And I can answer that because I just discussed it with somebody today.
huh?
And that is because I was not overly gifted and I struggled in school and I just struggled generally. When when I learned about lean and I realized that it could solve a lot of the problems that I traditionally was battling, it was like, wow, this is a workaround. This is like a magical workaround. So that's one. The second reason why is what a good friend of mine said today. He's teaching lean to some companies in Guatemala right now. And he said, look at these teams of people. They are so hundreds. I mean, there's 800 people in this company that he's teaching, and they're so open to wanting to learn. And when I go to the United States, and I'll teach in an organization similar size, they're not as open to wanting to learn. So, what is the difference between the Guatemalan people and the American people? And the difference is quite simple. Is the Guatemala people, they feel like a little bit of an underdog. They don't have all the resources we have. And the Americans, and I love American, there's no bigger patriot than me, is we have so much abundance that we take everything for granted. Oh, well, I don't need to do that. I get plenty of gas, plenty of food, plenty of this. And maybe the Guatemalan people are thinking, man, I better get my act together. I'm not going to eat. There's an element of of feeling like you don't have enough, or you're a little inadequate. And when you feel a little inadequate, like, look at you. This is a great example. You said yourself, when you said you heard me speak, you said, God, I kind of want what that guy has. So that little twinge of feeling inadequate is the keystone. It is the seed of really embracing lean, where if you feel like, hey, I got it all figured out, there's nothing I don't know, I've heard that before, you're not going to get anywhere. And my whole persona now, Dwayne, is I don't have it all figured out. I can learn every day, and there's something new to discover. Did I answer your question?
No, I love it. And here was a couple of my takeaways, and I just want to flicker them back to you just to see where I might be on or off on this. But the first part you said was like, for you, it was like a workaround. And the word that popped into my head that I wrote down was, was that like a freedom for you? Like, I always try to put things to some type of emotion or value. So it's like, to try to kind of understand the context. So that was the first one. And then the second was like, as you were talking about the people from Guatemala being the underdog, it's like,
Yeah,
to me, it's like, that's hunger.
you got it.
like a lot can be
You can
created.
only feed the hungry. If you're not hungry, they're not going to listen.
Exactly. And so, when I often think, like, my wife and I talk about this all the time, and it's like, I work a ton, but
Right.
I'm like, I'm so hungry. I'm as
Right.
hungry today. It's not about money. It's more really about knowledge and growth. And the more I grow, the more I can contribute to others so that I can add value. But it's like, if I learn lean, I can teach my people, but I also can teach other people. And so
Right.
to me, that is like the foundation for real growth is hunger. But anyways,
Absolutely. No, well, you can only feed the hungry. It doesn't matter, you can't lead a horse to water. They got to want it. I think to answer your first question, your first point was why for me? Because it eliminated anger and being
mm,
pissed off. I'd walk into my company and I go, what the hell are you people thinking? I mean, this is like basic. Right. And so then when I learned lean and I realized if I just worked on improving the process and training my people, that anger would go away because then things would start being smooth and things would go, there'd be less defects and there'd be better quality and the people would be happier and the people would be more engaged. So the essence of it, it eliminated anger. I was angry. I was pissed.
can you dive a little deeper? Because I think that is something that a lot of our listeners can relate to. I know I certainly can. It's like, because, and you used the example earlier is, I'm just going to scroll up to it, but where you said, like, everyone should be clear on your instructions or how you communicate with them. And it's like,
Right.
man, I know what I feel like I said in my head,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
then it's like when you watch somebody execute, it's like, I must have been speaking another language.
Right. So
So
here's the key the key, Dwayne, and for all your listeners, this is so much fun. You can tell I love talking about this
no,
because
I
it's
know you
just
do.
so freeing. It's unbelievable. So there's a Japanese word. It's called Hansei. Hansei. It means to look at what you've just done. Because I teach in Japanese. I lead Japan study missions. I lead thousands. I've trained over 1,000 top leaders from around the world in Japan on Japanese excellence because they're the ones that really made this all happen. But of course, they learned it all from America, but we forgot how to do it. So I'm taking people over there to do it. And the word that I teach them is Hansei. It means when you do something, you want to have a sense of regret, like, how come Dwayne didn't understand what I just said? And then you take that Hansei, you take that moment and you adjust, you make a countermeasure. So the next time I speak to Dwayne, the communication method will be more effective. And you're constantly Hanseiing so you can improve. This is what you do. And if you get in this pattern, if you get in this habit of Hanseiing, countermeasure, improvement, and we call that the PDA cycle: plan, do, check, act. And I don't want to use too much crazy stuff, but it's all very simple. Just look at what you've done and ask yourself, how can I do better? That's all you need to do.
Hansei
Hansei. It's a
is the
beautiful,
sense.
beautiful word.
Yeah, it's the sense of regret, and then you want to execute a count, like what would you call it, a
A
counter
countermeasure, a countermeasure.
countermeasure.
What am I going to
Hmm.
do? So let's just, for the listeners, let's just give an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I say to you, Dwayne, I'm going to be using a headset today. And for some reason, you don't understand that I'm using a headset and you think something else. I've said, well, how come Dwayne didn't understand that? Well, what I should have done is, Dwayne, I'm going to be using a headset and I'm going to type for you an actual visual checklist of what I'm going to be doing. I'm using a headset, and I also have a wireless Bluetooth mic that we can test, or we can test, because we did all these three things, or we can
Hmm.
test the microphone on the MacBook. I'll have all those three prepared. I will pre-check those, and I will make sure you get to choose which one you think sounds better for the audio for this thing. So I could have just said that, hey, Dwayne, I'm going to use a Logitech headset. And then you would, I can't remember what you said. And then I'm going, well, I didn't make that very clear. So I would have said that and then typed it as well. So you had a visualization of what I was going to do. And you would have said, God, this guy's crystal clear about everything he does. That would be a Hansei.
Yeah, got it. Got it.
Does that make any sense?
No, it totally makes sense to me, and
Real world example.
I see how you live it every day too.
Yeah, I live
Obviously,
it,
the
breathe it.
audience can't, but when I communicate with you, on WhatsApp, it is very clear. You're very, like, you walk away when you received a message, you don't go, I wonder what he meant by that. Like, you know what I mean? It just never happened. It's never
And
happened.
the other thing too, Dwayne, is how fast I reply back too. I always reply back quickly. So you're not sitting there waiting. I'm not making you have a bunch of batch work, which is a very important part. We don't want batch work. You send me a message, I reply promptly because I don't want to put the burden of you waiting. Then I put that burden on you waiting for an answer. And then you can't make a decision on what you want to do because you're waiting. Remember the customer waiting. That's lean. That's a waste. So that's why immediately when you ask me questions, I was always like, boom, 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 right back to you. Exactly what you wanted to know. Making sense?
Oh yeah, dude, it's totally making sense. And we could be here for hours because, sorry. But I'm wondering if maybe we can, because I just thought of this, that there's probably some listeners out there that are like, what the hell is lean and what are these guys talking about? And I'm wondering, from the very beginning when I talked about the book Out of the Crisis by Dr. Deming, can you give maybe a relatively short blurb on lean and how it was created? It was started in America, it was taken to Japan and their manufacturing. Maybe, I mean, I can't do it, so do you mind?
I'll do it really quick.
History lesson.
So a quick history lesson for everyone. So World War II, we were very fortunate. The United States and the Allies won that war, but most people don't know why we won that war. We won that war because of something called the arsenal of democracy. We were able to outproduce everybody. We actually supplied all the munitions and supplies, food, everything for 2 theaters of war simultaneously while having the entire country of America basically go on unaffected. That's unprecedented. It's never happened in world history. How did we do that? We did that through something called training within industry. A lot of the women had to step into the factory. The men were off fighting the wars. And so we had to have a clear and simple way that people who were not familiar with manufacturing, how they could perform these jobs at a high level. So we developed something called training within industry. We had clear standards on the way each job was supposed to be done. We broke down the jobs and made them very simple. That allowed us to outproduce the Germans like 10 to 1, 100 to 1, and the Japanese 10 to 100 to 1. It was unprecedented what we did. The average Japanese soldier had like a pound of supplies. The average American soldier had 23 pounds of supplies for every American soldier compared to 1 pound for a Japanese. I mean, it's inevitable who's going to win that war, right? I mean, that's pretty significant. Well, that all happened because training within industry. So the war ends, we rebuild Japan, we rebuild Germany and Italy and Europe. We have something called the Marshall Plan. It's epic. Japan turns around, becomes a great democracy. MacArthur realized that we need to show the Japanese what we were doing. So he brings over Saracen and Deming and many of the top scholars who were excellent at TWI, and we trained the Japanese. And the Japanese looked at this because the Japanese are naturally curious people. They're just amazing. I could go into a whole history about Japan, but I teach that in Japan. We'll say that for another time. The Japanese went crazy over Deming. They literally thought it was like a quasi-religious experience. Deming says, focus on quality, get rid of your defects. That was the message that Deming gave to the Japanese. Focus on quality, get rid of your defects, not productivity, not how fast can you work, not how many whiz-bang products you can make. Focus on quality, eliminate your defects. The Japanese went crazy. Toyota, the president of Toyota, was in the conference when Deming spoke. He embraced that. Taiichi Ohno then developed the Toyota production system over the course of the next 30 years. And the rest is history. Now, Toyota is known as the greatest manufacturer in the world based on the principles that Deming, Saracen, and many of the other top scholars from the United States taught the Japanese. How's that? Is that clear?
It's pretty damn good. If you could you just maybe give an example, and I'll use the automobile industry as maybe the best and most notorious example in that. What would have been some of the early days, the things that they found that they shifted quickly in order, just so that the listener has some perspective?
Easy. So a typical thing that Toyota was doing was they would have a demand. Let's say their daily demand was for 20 cars. They made 20 cars a day. But so they went and cast 150 crankshafts. Okay, so they had a demand on a daily demand of 100 what did I say? 10, 20 cars a day, but they made 100 to 200 crankshafts a day because it was easier to make a batch of them. In the process, 40% of those had a small defect. So now those had to be reworked. So Taichi Ono recognized, oh my gosh, look at, we're reworking all this product that we made instead of focusing on quality. So Ono simply said, look at, how do we make just what we need? We have a demand for 20 cars. How do we make 20 crankshafts? How do we refine the process so we don't have to make so many, and make sure that process is stable? This is a really important concept in lean. Stability. Is your process stable so it doesn't have any variation? This is all stuff that Deming taught them. There's no variation in the process, therefore the quality and product is predictable. So Ono recognized the problem and then came up with a system called just in time and figured out how to change the dies out, the molds out, everything very quickly. So he had a stabilized process that was based on the exact demand that the customer was asking for. Therefore, he didn't have to have a big warehouse full of 200 bad crankshafts. He didn't have any warehouse. He didn't need a warehouse. It actually made it just as he needed it. How does that? Did that make any sense? Is that an example?
And it obviously sounds like the example of just-in-time inventory.
That's correct.
But that came much later, did it not? Like that whole...
Yeah, well, Ono developed just-in-time because, again, Toyota was broke. You know, you have Ford. Henry Ford's the originator of all this stuff. Henry Ford was the biggest lean guy in the whole planet. But Henry Ford also was extremely wealthy, and he could afford to have big warehouses. He could afford to do anything he wanted. The Japanese had just been defeated. Their whole country was destroyed. They had to figure out how to compete with GM and Ford with no resources. So the only way they could do that is they realized all this inventory was costing them all their overhead, their capital. So he had to come up with a clever way to reduce that inventory. And that's how just in time came about. Am I going too fast?
No, because I'm just gonna keep bringing us back.
Okay, no problem.
But
I'm very passionate about this subject. I love it. It's just such a fascinating topic.
That's why I wanted to get you on, because you are so passionate about it, and I believe that, you know, in our systems in business, that we need to move towards, you know, something like this, and not just in my business but other businesses. Maybe, I don't know if we do this through your story or and your experience, but if you were walking somebody through the concept of lean and where to start, and I'm curious what your story was, because you obviously, I think I heard at some point in time, like when you were first introduced to lean, you were like, nah, that's not efficient. I don't think you were an instant buyer of the concept,
no.
were you?
No. Well, because I had my act together. You know, I was trained by Bob Taylor. I mean, I knew what I was doing. I was a master craftsman. I built 2,000 guitars. I worked on some of the most beautiful homes in the world, and in Pasadena, California, green homes, and all the most expensive homes for, you know, famous baseball players. I mean, I built the house for the editor of Architectural Digest. I mean, I had some decent chops in terms of knowing how to manufacture and put things together. So initially I was maybe not completely like, oh yeah, because I felt like I was kind of doing it, right? You said I was OCD, but you can organize waste. I mean, you can organize, you can, if OCD is organizing things, you can organize waste. I could still have organized too many rolls of toilet paper. You know what I mean? I mean, lean is understanding all the 8 wastes and how they play into everything you do every day.
So I'm curious, like, what was your experience then? Like, and as you started walking through yourself through lean and learning it as a student, if that's what I could call it, what were some of the early experiences?
Easy question. It was people. It was that lean was all about developing people. And I just wanted, initially my mistakes were, I just wanted everything to be lean. I wanted everything to be fixed. And I didn't realize the key to what Toyota was doing was they were developing their people. They were slowing down, slow as smooth, smooth as fast. They were training their people on a daily basis, rigorously. When everybody else was rushing off to work and creating defects, Toyota was elevating the people's thinking so that they could produce better quality, because they were all engaged in everything that was going on around them. They could detect the difference between something that was normal and abnormal. They heightened their ability to detect the difference between something that was normal and abnormal. They heightened their ability to detect the difference between something that was normal and abnormal. They heightened their ability to detect the difference between something that was normal and abnormal. They heightened their ability to to be able to detect the smallest abnormality. And what would Toyota do? They would stop the line, as I showed you in the conference. They saw anything happen that was wrong. It didn't matter how small, they stopped and they fixed it. Now, everybody else keeps working.
Can you walk me through that a little bit, or walk us through
Sure,
that? I shouldn't
sure.
say me, but can you walk us through that? Because I think I've certainly found at times with myself where I go, no, no, I'm like, I trained that person. Like I spent time training
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah. Well, if
but
they're doing it wrong, we haven't trained them enough. That's all they're. If the minute someone performs wrong, the process is the problem. You either trained them wrong, or the process is difficult to understand. It's 99% always a process problem, not a person problem. We love to blame people.
and then so let's walk through that a little bit, because I'd love to hear, what you've learned in that whole training session, because I'm sure part of process is follow up as well. That, whatever you want to call it, cadence or battle rhythm of, because you don't just train once, it's a retrain, retrain, train, 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 train. So I'm just really super interested in hearing your take on all of that in your own experience, and also maybe sometimes I think a little bit of like, hey, here's what I went through and this was the struggle. Like, because this is, as much I believe that these shifts happen in two places. First, it happens in your mind, and then it happens in the physical world.
Absolutely. It happens in the habits, what you actually do. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really simple. Again, Dwayne, and for everyone listening, there are a couple habits that I observed that Toyota was doing. So I went to Japan twice, the first time in 2000, then back in 2005. And I noticed that I couldn't figure out what Toyota was doing. What was the secret sauce? And when I figured out the second time I went back, and this was what was happening. Number one, I realized that all Toyota was really doing, this huge, sophisticated company, that all they were doing was eliminating the eight waste. They were focused on identifying waste, transportation, excess motion, over processing, defects, whatever it was. And collectively, the entire organization of 100,000 people was trying to find the waste and eliminate it systematically on a daily basis. That's the first thing, the first step. The second thing I noticed was how they did it. Every day they do something called 5S. This is their habit. We call this in Japanese their kata, K-A-T-A, their routine, but we're just going to say their habit. But I'm going to make it simple for your listeners. I'm only going to say 3S, because I realized that really you only need to do three of the 5S's, and here they are. Sweep, that means clean every day. Before you ever work, you clean. So my office that you're looking at me in right now, before I ever did anything, I made sure everything in my office was clean. The second thing I did is I sorted. Anything that was in my office that didn't need to be in my office, I got out of my office. And the third thing I did is I create standards. If there's something that needs to be improved, a place where I keep my pen, my paper, my extra charging cables, whatever it was, I created a standard. So those three things happen on a daily basis at Toyota. And as a result, I realized this is what they were doing. And this allows you to see the normal and abnormal. So when you're cleaning and you see there's a crack in the wall, you might go, why is that crack in the wall? The crack in the wall is because there's a leak. Why is there a leak in the roof? Oh, because I got a woodpecker up there pecking holes in my roof. You know, the bottom line is you're 3Sing and you notice something abnormal. That is the reason for 3Sing, is to find abnormalities and take countermeasures so those don't happen anymore. Rather than wait till it becomes a crisis, the roof caves in and 10 machines are destroyed at $100,000 a machine. You just see a small crack in the wall. You go up and investigate. There's a small roof leak in the roof from a woodpecker, which I actually have a woodpecker pecking on my roof. So I bring that up as an example. Okay. So this is what they were doing. So the first thing is they eliminate the eight waste. How do they do it? They have the habit of 3Sing every day: sweeping, sorting, standardizing. And then the last thing they do is they meet. They have a morning meeting to discuss what's going on in the day. What are the defects? What are the potential problems that could arise? What are problems that we had? What are the countermeasures that are in place? What are safety issues? So they have this clear method of getting everybody on the same page. In Japanese, we call that yokaten. It means the transmission of information horizontally across an organization so there are no silos. Oh, that Bob knows that, but nobody else knows that. At Toyota, everybody knows what's going on. Yokaten is flat. The transmission of information horizontally across an organization, and they do that through the morning meeting. So the two things they're doing, 3S'ing and having a morning meeting so that everybody knows what's going on. And when I realized that's what Toyota was doing, I set up a program at my company to teach the 8 ways to my company to daily 3S every day for over 20 years. My company, 25 years, my company has been 3S'ing every day, and we never miss. And every day we have a morning meeting every day, and we never miss. And the result is most astounding numbers. Everything about my company is so outrageous, it's hard to even comprehend.
I can vouch for that. I've seen some videos that are just mind-blowing. Question for you on the morning meetings. How do you execute those morning meetings? Like, even from my own experience, like one of the things that I find in meetings is that people tend to fall into story. The story around what happened, why it's this way, who did what. Mm-hmm. What are the techniques that you follow to ensure that you're having these powerful morning meetings that are really transmitting the information that's actually required and versus the information that's not really required? 2
words: dialogue, not monologue. The leader, you and I, we get up there and we want to pontificate and tell everybody all this stuff, and we just go on and on and on and on and don't shut up and find out what people are really thinking. So the key is you start off the meeting and it's all about asking questions. Bob, Mary, what do you think? Let Bob and Mary talk. Oh, interesting. Hey, Fred, what do you think? Hey, Leanne, what do you think? So everybody's contributing. Nobody's sitting there just listening to one guy go on and on and on. That's it.
And then like, is there do you guys do an agenda, or is there like a process that you follow from that lean would support in terms of like
amazing? So I wanted to keep it simple. The main key point is dialogue, not monologue. But then we have what's called a keynote. We're Mac based, not all Mac based, but our morning meeting is Mac based. And we have a keynote that we go through like 20 items in the morning, and the whole presentation has been prepared the day before. We have a different morning leader every day. Someone in our company leads, not the president, none of that. No. Everybody leads the morning meeting, and they click through these 25 slides. And they have to update them according to what's relevant for the day. But the general principles that we study, we are grateful. So 6 people come up and tell us what they're grateful for in the morning. We study all of Ono's principles. We studied one of Taichi Ono's principles. We studied one of Deming's principles. We study the Constitution every day, one of the amendments of the Constitution every day. We have a short little history lesson that's about 3 or 4 minutes long, something about history, because people have to know their history. And we look at our defects, any mistakes that were made, we discuss them, why they happened, and what were the countermeasures to take place. So there's a quick overview of what we do every day.
So in that keynote, this is what I took down, and let's see if I missed anything.
And we make that available to everyone, Dwayne. Anyone can have our keynote. Everything I do is free. All my books are free. Every presentation, you can have it. We'll give it to everybody. We just want to help people.
Okay, so in the keynote, every keynote has a different meeting leader, like every day.
Every day, different leader.
You guys have standard slides. I'm assuming.
Yep, standard slides and beautiful, graphically interesting. You saw my presentation. You didn't see a lot of words on my presentation, did you?
No.
Everything was big visual, videos, pictures, a couple words. You remember that, how I did that? Yep. And you remember how fast I was going through those slides? I went through over 90 slides in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, 90. I didn't know it was 90. I do know 90. It was fast.
It was fast, man. It was like everybody was like, oh, it was like, how do you keep up? Nobody could pull out their phone. I will not allow anyone to pull out their. If someone pulls out a phone when I'm speaking, I've screwed up big time.
Right. So there's 20 slides. You guys do what you're grateful for. 6 people. So 6 people stand up and say what they're grateful for. And are those gratitude? Is that gratitude for the workplace or in
anything.
The workplace, or
their
is it
wife,
just
their
anything?
husband, their dog,
right.
someone at work, whatever they want. We
I
just
love
want
it.
to teach gratitude. Gratitude is the cornerstone of being successful in life.
I love it. You study one principle, and it could be really any, like, is it
Yeah, like Ono's
a lean
principle, we'll
principle?
study improve what was improved for, and then there's a blank, a cover over it. We do not let people know what it is, but we don't have any posters in our company either. There's no motivational posters, nothing. It's all blank walls. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful building. But we don't have that because everybody knows this stuff. So we say improve what was improved for, and then everyone goes further improvement, and then they hit the button and it reveals the answer.
Okay. And then history. What's the history? Is that a history of lean, or is it history in
No,
any
history,
sense?
world history. Yeah, world history, great inventors, Henry Ford, Carnegie, everyone, um, Ernest Shackleton, Eisenhower, history, just a quick history lesson.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
is the meeting leader responsible to do the research for that?
Absolutely. That's what they
Okay.
have to do. So they have to be prepared for what's their history lesson, maybe something that interests them. I know one gal did a really cool thing on the fisheries in Washington State because fisheries is really big. So we want to know the history of the fisheries in Washington State. We didn't want to know it. She wanted to teach us about it. So she did her research and she gave a quick 3 to 5 minute overview of the fisheries in Washington State. It's very educational, very interesting.
That's cool. And you do this every day.
Every day we've never missed. We
How
never
long
miss.
how long does the meeting take?
Well, this is the scary part. Okay, this is where I don't want to scare people. For us, it takes a half hour. We
Okay.
never tell people to do that because you need a 5 to 10 minute morning meeting. What I recommend is you take my book, you read one page in the book, and you discuss it, talk about how you can implement it, and then go to work. We have this super mature culture. We're like, it's a university. It's like a high level university. Our people are like crazy good. They know everything. They know everything about science, about history, about lean, about Deming. And they're not people that have been to college or anything like that necessarily. But this is our culture. So when you get into our culture, you're like going to Harvard. My people learn more than know way more than the people at Harvard because the people at Harvard come to our place, and the people at Harvard are looking, going, where'd you get these people? We trained them.
Okay. And that, so I have a question about this, but the last one was defects. So you
Yeah.
talk about defects that happen in the organization over the last 24
Any
hours, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. Any defect that happens, we immediately say, why did that happen? And what is the count? Not why did it happen, Bob Mary, you're an idiot. No, why did it happen? Oh, okay, well, there must be a process problem. Let's work on that process. Let's refine it. And we make them go away. So the defects that we're encountering in our company are so small, most people would never even, they would think, are you kidding? We do that like 50 times an hour. If we do that once in a month, it's like crisis at FastCap.
Give me can you give us an example of a couple?
Running out of anything, running out of paper clips, running out of staples, running out of hot glue, running out of toilet paper, running out of dishwasher soap, running out of coolant for the injection molding machine. Anything we'd ever run out of never happens. We have a Kanban system, which is a management system for all the inventory so that nothing ever runs out. Nobody's ever looking for anything, ever.
Can you explain that, the inventory system that you have
Yeah,
then?
yeah. It's very simple. So Kanban is a Japanese word. It means a sign. So you're driving down the road and you see this big green sign that says exit Cedar Woolley in 1 mile. That's a Kanban, a big green sign. It tells you have to do something. So everywhere in our facility, we have tens of thousands of Kanbans. Kanbans are little tiny red cards. Little red cards that are about, the size of, 5 inches by 4 inches, just a little card. And on that card is placed where the dishwashing soap is. So there's one dishwashing soap you're using, and there's another dishwashing soap right behind it. So you use all the dishwashing soap, and then there's a bottle sitting there with a rubber band around it with a Kanban card on it. And as soon as you go to grab that next replenishment, that card gets turned into the office, or we have a Kanban slot, and it gets reordered. So by the time you get through that last bottle of dishwashing soap, the new one has been ordered and replenished, and the Kanban card is put back. So there's flow in our organization. And that means for every nut, every bolt, every paper clip, every piece of coolant, every piece of wood, I don't care what it is in our company, it's Kanban. Every injection molding pellet, every piece of adhesive, Everything is Kanban. The
So,
coffee cream, the coffee, the pucks, the everything is Kanban.
wow. Okay, so using the example of the nuts, if you had, let's say, a bin of whatever half-inch nuts,
Right. Have screws.
and you're using on average 10 a day,
Right.
do you have it takes like 2 days to get a Kanban fulfilled.
Whatever it
Let's
takes
just,
to reorder. Let's say if it takes 6 days to get that, we're going to have 7 or 8 days of inventory before we hit the Kanban because we have to have enough time for the replenishment. So every item might have a different replenishment time, and that
right.
Kanban reflects that.
So you'd have 60 nuts or screws underneath the Kanban. And then once they hit the last one on the Kanban, they're like, okay, we got to
There's
hand
a
this in.
plastic bag. There would be a
Yep.
plastic bag with the remaining Kanbans that are in there with the Kanban in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So they open up the Kanban, they open up the bag to get the last reserve, that last little bit, and the Kanban comes out. They put it in the Kanban slot. A water spider, that's a person that makes sure that all Kanbans are being picked up on an hourly basis and delivered to the office so they're reordered. And that's the way the system works. And it's magic. The whole system's magic. And it's all not digital. It's all based on just a simple paper card. This is the way Toyota does it.
I'm picturing somebody driving their car right now going, a 30-minute meeting in the morning. Like, how
Yeah,
can
yeah.
they be productive?
Thousands and
And
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars it costs me every day. 50
yeah,
people, just do the math. It's crazy how much money. We work 1 hour. We're 1 hour before anybody ever picks up a hammer in my company every day for 25 years.
yeah, because you have a 30-minute meeting and probably the suite
Three S,
probably
three S'ing
takes,
for a half hour.
yeah, all three S's in the
Right,
morning.
right. Yeah. All three S's, sweep, sort, and standardize. Then, so 1 hour, nobody's worked. No one. We're
Okay.
6 times more productive than the most efficient companies in the world. We're 6 times, each person in my company produces 6 times more per hour than the most efficient companies in the world. And everything's calm, everything's quiet, nobody's running around with their head cut off. Everybody knows what to do, everybody's friendly, everybody's helping one another. No chaos.
So 9 out of 10 people are going right now going, there's no way.
Watch the videos. Just type into FastCap Tour. You'll see everything we're doing. FastCap Tour. It's got over 750,000 views. It just Paul Akers' videos nonstop, thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. Everything's free, no subscription. Everything's there.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing with that because I searched it after like I went on, I got your book, and then while you were talking, I got your book, and then we searched some videos afterwards the next day actually, and it was like it's phenomenal the amount of content that you have online for free is
It's all free.
that is
Not all. It's all free.
yeah.
I do it because I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm American. I'm grateful that my founding fathers sacrificed life and treasure so they create this great country. This is a very small little thing I'm giving back for what I've been giving me. I've been given the greatest platform in the world to succeed in. America is the greatest platform in the world. This is the very least I could do.
Amen, brother. Amen. What when you started to put this into practice, what were the struggles that you experienced?
Me,
Yeah.
my ego, my demanding way, my demanding demeanor, my impatience, wanting everybody to do it, not realizing it was me because I wasn't training them. Me, just me, me.
Ego, impatience.
Yeah, no
You
patience.
mentioned,
And if you're a CEO, if you're the president, you want everything now, generally
oh
speaking.
yeah. Yeah. Like I have a rule for every job that it should be done in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
actually, as I've gotten older, I've moved that to 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. As my dad would say, asses and elbows. I don't want to say anything else.
That's it. Well, so if you don't mind walking me through what that looked like, you used I think an important word, ego. That's something for the last close to 10 years that I've been really trying to deleverage. Not trying to make my ego go away because it is what we use to interface in the world. What I'm trying to do is deleverage the control and influence that my ego has over me.
Well, it all
So I,
starts, Dwayne, with really just an intellectual understanding. Once you understand intellectually that if you slow down and start developing and training your people that you're going to have a better life, it's very easy to let your ego go to the side because you realize the ego is going to be juxtaposed to that magical alchemy occurring. The magical alchemy is when people work as a team and people are well trained and they're engaged. There's you can't have that alchemy if you have a dictator yelling at everybody, demanding everything, devoid of proper training and good processes. So first you have to intellectually understand that. Once you've got that clear in your mind, it's very easy to check your ego because the egos will destroy you,
mhm.
destroy that endeavor. Did that
my
make any
halluc-
sense?
yeah, no, it does for sure. But and my hallucination is that this has to start with the owner.
Completely.
Like you and I put myself like, and I think we kind of briefly talked about this after you talked. Um, but it's one of those things where it's like, I have desire to implement lean into our organizations, but we own, 3 or 4 companies. And, so probably starting too big is not a good thing.
Not a good
And,
thing. Small.
yeah, because it would, I'm imagining it would increase the frustration or anger as you called it earlier.
Train wreck. You'll
Um,
actually have a train wreck.
yeah. So where does this start for people? Like what best advice could you give based on your experiences when somebody's like listening to this and, first of all, they're like, I don't understand how he can have an hour's worth of non-productive work and then still have the highest productivity of, other companies around them. So that's a bit of a mind meld if that has to happen there. On the other side of like, where does one start? Because it seems very large,
Well,
and I've had.
let's make it real world for you. Give me an example of one of your companies. Tell me what one of your companies does and the size of it. And of all the companies you own, because I know you own many of them, which one do you think? Let's just make it real for the listeners right now. Which one do you think would be the most susceptible to something like this? Tell me generally what they do and how many people are in the organization. I'll tell you exactly how to start.
Okay, well, so let's use we just bought a company here in Florida. It's an aggregate supply and like excavation and grading business. 20 some odd employees. We have, dump trucks, skid steers, mini X's, doing kind of work. We deliver aggregate, all that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right, right. Okay, good. So you have you have the top leader in that company, right?
Hmm.
Okay, you
Yep.
start with that person and you don't talk about it to anybody else. You personally maybe tell them to read my book, listen to my book. It's all on YouTube. Everything's free. And just simply say, what's the person's name? Tell me the name.
Harold.
Harold. Harold,
Yep.
hey, listen, I have a quick little assignment for you. I want you to listen to this guy's book. It's on YouTube. I'm going to come back to you in 1 week and I want you to tell me what you think. Okay? Take some notes if you can. Harold, 1 week we're going to talk. So you go back to 1 week. Harold, what do you think? You don't tell him what you think. What do you think? And you just listen what he's saying. And Harold says, God, that's pretty interesting. I'd be kind of open to it. Harold, where do you think we should start? What do you think we should do? Well, Paul said we should start in the bathroom. It's kind of crazy. Well, what do you think, Harold? Should we do that? We could try it. Harold, what do you need from me? I don't think anything. I think, we probably have a budget to do that. We probably could spend $2,000 or $3,000 making the bathroom nice. Well, Harold, I want you to do it. And I'm going to be there in 2 weeks from now. And I want to see what happens. Okay, Dwayne, let's rock and roll. So that's simple. You didn't tell him what to do. You just asked questions, made sure you gave him the resources to do it. You set clear deadlines on when you wanted it done, the book in 1 week, 2 weeks to have the bathroom restored to a high level. And then you look at it. And then you just begin that dialogue with Harold. And you start to see, you get Harold involved and on board. And once Harold gets on board, then you say, Harold, think we can roll it out to the company? And Harold goes, hell yeah.
And would you recommend rolling it out to anybody to roll it out to their full company? I mean, obviously, depending on the size of their business, but
20
if it's
people, you could do it at one time. But if it's
okay,
anything, if it's like 50 people, you need to choose one little department, 3 or 4 or 5 people, So you get the top leader involved, and the top leader goes to 3 or 4 people in a particular department, and you make it work for 3 or 4 months there at a really high level. Then everybody else in the organization is looking what's happening in graphic design, or looking what's happening in printing, or looking what's happening in aggregate mixture, or whatever it is. They're going, this is cool. Can we do that? That's how you start.
Yeah, my initial response when you were saying like, okay, let's start with the bathroom. I'm like, well, we could start with the, like in my head, I'm like, well, the bathroom and the and the this and the that, and but you warn against
In
that.
the
I
bathroom,
think.
because the bathroom is the
Mhm.
ultimate sign of respect. So in Japan, have you been to Japan?
I have not. No.
Okay, so Japan is an amazing place. One of the things that's amazing about it is it has the most beautiful, clean bathrooms in the entire world. You can walk into any 7-Eleven, any Family Mart, any rest side stop, any truck stop, any gas station. It doesn't matter where you go, any mall. Bathrooms are gorgeous, beautiful. Bidet toilet seats are clean. They don't smell bad. They're just over the top. And that's because that's the ultimate example of showing respect for people, that you feel that they should have a dignified place, just go to the bathroom 4 or 5 times a day. So if they're confronted with a lean bathroom 4 or 5 times a day, they might become very persuaded very quickly about how effective and how helpful and useful lean could be in their life. So that's why I say start in the bathroom. That's where I started. I had 5 bathrooms in my company. I took one bathroom and I made it so gorgeous, artwork, Van Gogh up on the wall, beautiful Monet up on the wall. They were posters, but it still looked beautiful. Nice tile, everything clean, organized. Everything was beautiful. Everything worked. Everything was just like sparkling clean. And everyone goes, whoa, that bathroom's good. Everybody wants to use that bathroom out of the 5. And I said, well, we're going to roll this out. Now that you understand how good this is, all 5 bathrooms are going to be identical. They're all going to be kept at this high standard. So we did that. Then everyone goes, no, this is lean. First of all, it shows respect for people. It shows that I respect you. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. And we want all of our work areas to look as nice as the bathrooms do. So it was a clear visualization on what we were shooting for, what the target was. That's why we say start in the bathroom. And the Japanese have basically done that. The whole country is one big, clean, sparkling, beautiful bathroom. I'm not a very orthodox speaker, am I? You probably haven't had anybody on
No,
like me before. That's so
no, no,
crazy.
no. This is awesome, dude.
Okay.
This is what everybody needs to hear. Now, does every day then at the beginning of the day when you start with the bathrooms, do you you perform 3S on the
The bathroom.
bathrooms?
Yeah, everyone
And
cleans the bathroom, including myself, including my wife. We all clean the bathroom. Everyone
yeah,
cleans the bathroom. It's on a
and you have
rotation. Everybody
and
does it.
you haven't in have you started meetings at this stage? Like if you
No, no,
start
no.
with
The
bathrooms?
meeting,
Yeah,
no, that's
no.
part of the 3Sing. That's the first half hour. And mind you, if you came to my company, Dwayne, the president of UPS, the president of Amazon, I don't care who comes, because everyone comes to our company, whether it be Starbucks, whether it be the US Navy, the very first thing they all do is requirement. You cannot come to our company unless you clean the bathroom. Everyone, president, suit and tie, I don't care who you are.
They clean your bathroom for you.
They have to. It's a
Ah,
requirement. You cannot come to our company unless you clean the bathroom.
hmm. And then in terms of cleaning the bathroom, not to get too granular here, but I think it's a good example. I think it's really a good real life example. How does that training start to look in terms of like, is there
Shoulder to
SOPs? Do you,
shoulder. There's first of all, there's an 8-step process that tells you what you need to do, but there's always someone next to you showing you the process and watching, making sure you're performing it correctly. So everything is shoulder to shoulder, one person, one trainer, with clear visual instructions on the process.
and are those posted in the washroom or do they, is,
Correct. There's one in the washroom right when you go in, and then on every cleaning station. So we have 4 buckets, these special buckets that have all been set up with the cleaning supplies. And on that is the 8-step process. So as you're carrying the bucket to the toilet, you want to know what the process, the step-by-step process to clean the toilet. You can Velcro it off, read it, and Velcro it right back onto the bucket and keep going.
sorry, when you, why is there 8 steps to cleaning the washroom? Like,
Well, there could be 5 steps, but
okay.
we try to break everything down into. Remember, I said training within industry. You break down every process into small, manageable processes. So we like to think in terms of 8. There's not, it's not a magic number. It's just if it's more than 8, you kind of get lost. So if it's how to clean the toilet, it's 8 steps. If it's how to clean the coffee machine, it may be 5 steps, but it's on an 8-step 8.5 by 11 sheet where you have 8 potential photographs that show you the step-by-step process. If it takes 8, it takes 8. If it takes 6, it takes 6. If it takes 5, it takes 5. Whatever it takes.
And everyone has a picture of what is the standard.
100% in Espanol, 100% every process, from cleaning the gym to cleaning the coffee machine to cleaning their fridge to setting up a $250,000 injection molding machine to setting up $1 million printer. We have super high-tech equipment. Everything, there are 8-step processes everywhere in the company. And not only are there 8-step processes, but every process has a QR code with a video that we've made showing how to do it in a video format. So you take your phone, you scan it, and you can literally physically watch someone do every step. There's a movie, a video, everything. It's all posted to YouTube on a discrete channel that is unlisted. So you scan it, it takes you to the YouTube channel, FastCap training, and every process is there. Even including, Dwayne, all the electrical panels. So our electricians come in, it's a very sophisticated company. I mean, huge power supplies, injection molding, everything you could imagine, right? You walk into the control panel, all the power boxes, there's a QR code. The electrician scans it. It explains every power box in the place, where the 3-phase power, where the single-phase power, where this is, where that. The electrician is just like, this is a heaven, nirvana. Who the hell does this shit? You know what I mean?
Okay, but I got a picture like right now, somebody's driving in their car. There's a business owner, man or woman, driving in their car going, I would freaking go bankrupt trying to put all this together. Or they're going to say, I don't have the resources. I don't have the people. I don't have the time.
I got to be careful what I say here. Well, I just have to keep buying a bigger truck to haul the money to the bank. So you knock yourself out.
But when they have those, because in their head, they've created a story that they don't have the time or whatever the resources that they're saying to themselves. But I mean, if there's one thing that I've kind of realized in life is that, the reason why we don't have something in our life is because of the story that we're telling ourselves. And so, I say to myself, for the person that's listening to this, that has a story of a lack of a resource somewhere, what's the mindset? What's the shift that has to happen within them? I get the tactics. I love the example.
You're not going to believe what I'm going to say, Dwayne.
I'm going to believe it.
Yeah, you're not going to believe it because everyone's going to be pissed at me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want you to change. You only change because you want to change. You only change because this makes sense to you. If it does make sense to you, keep doing it what you're doing. No problem.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
It's not your time. It's not
your time. It's not your time. Go knock yourself out. I don't tie myself in knots. I don't do anything. I'm only looking for Dwaynes. I'm only looking for people. I didn't come to you. You came to me. I'm only looking for Dwaynes. I only want to talk to the people that get it. Everybody else, keep knocking yourself out. I have no time whatsoever to convince you of common sense. Zero.
So let's just take that one next level. From a coaching standpoint, when we're talking to owners. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for that conversation. The follow-up will happen next week. We appreciate you guys listening. I hope that it's, my hope that we bring a perspective and shared story that helps you grow and build awareness to the areas of life that you want to improve. That's the mission. And, progress is where we meet happiness. And so keep growing, keep living, keep dreaming. Appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you being with us. If you found value in the show and know a friend or coworker who could benefit from this conversation, please share the link. Remember, each share creates a ripple effect of knowledge and inspiration. And if this podcast has supported you in any way, please support us by clicking the follow or subscribe button.